Right now at 10, running for the village board, why some DeForest community members are becoming more engaged with local politics.
And the search continues for a missing Beaver Dam teen. The message from her mother as she speaks out for the first time.
Plus, a new healthcare facility is coming to Rock County. We'll tell you about the plans that UW Health has in store for Janesville. That is all coming up now on News 3 Now at 10. Good evening, and thank you for joining us, everyone. I'm Sarah Carlson.
And I'm Eric Frocky with the primary election now behind us. Candidates and voters are looking ahead to the April 1st vote. And in one area village, the local government has more eyes on it than ever. Our Maddie Heimsch takes us to DeForest.
The DeForest Village Board has been flooding with discourse for months now over concerns about keeping fluoride in the community drinking water. Eventually, the village board voted 4-3 to remove the fluoride, and that vote is affecting the next one.
A little late to official filing, but decided to get involved.
It led some community members to engage themselves. Alicia Williams has entered the race for village board as a write-in candidate.
When I was looking at the board, there was no representation for anyone with kids. So I was like, hey, you know what? I'd like to be a voice out there. So I put my name in the hat.
She says it wasn't just the final fluoride vote, but the discourse around the discontinuation that got her thinking.
Let's learn how to disagree with our neighbors, but, you know, in a different format.
The DeForest Village Board consists of 6 trustees and a village president, 4 of which seats are up for election in April. The deadline to submit official nomination papers has passed, but anyone in DeForest can run as a write-in candidate by filing campaign registration paperwork with the clerk.
I think people want civility. They want someone who's going to have, you know, a professional public discourse. They want someone who's going to make sound decision-making, and they want to be heard from.
Write-in candidates like Williams won't see their name on the ballot, but the wave of attention in DeForest has made room inside Village Hall. Reporting in DeForest, I'm Maddie Heimsch, News 3 Now.
And let's take a look at your weekend forecast. It may not feel like it right now, but the warm-up has already begun in southern Wisconsin.
40-degree weather just a couple of days away. Meteorologist Blaze Keller on the weather patio with more. Blaze?
That's right. Yes, we could get into the 40s as soon as Sunday, but definitely by Monday. We are beginning to enter into a pretty decent warm-up that's going to last through at least Thursday of next week. Doesn't feel like it out there now. We're in the teens for the most part. 14 Viroqua, 12 in Janesville, 8 in Platteville. So you are coldest across southern Wisconsin, 17 in Madison as well as in Middleton and Sun Prairie, 18 in Wanakee. Winds are on the southwest, causing a bit of a wind chill. It does feel like it's below zero. Mineral Point, Platteville, as well as Viroqua, not to mention Fond du Lac as well. We're closing in there in Janesville, but these southwesterly winds are bringing up that warmth. Upper 20s to low 30s on your Saturday, upper 30s to low 40s by your Sunday, and then that warm-up continues, as I mentioned, into next week. So after we cool off into those teens, low teens to single digits tonight, underneath mostly clear to clear conditions, we're just set to warm on up. Now, we're going to not only talk about the warm up, but also talk about the few rain snow mix chances that we have throughout next week as well, coming up in the full forecast.
All right, Blaze, thank you. We now know the name of the man who died from his injuries after a Janesville shooting that happened back in December. The Rock County Medical Examiner has identified him as Taiwan Cannon. The 51-year-old was shot on North High Street December 17th and later died at a hospital earlier this month. Police have arrested Deontay Foster in connection with the shooting. He's being charged with first-degree intentional homicide. And the Dane County Medical Examiner's Office releasing the name of an 18-year-old who was killed on Madison's east side, identified as Tyshawn Larry of Beaver Dam. It was February 13th that Larry died at the scene of a shooting on North Thompson Drive. 2 teens have been arrested in connection with the incident. Both face charges of first-degree reckless homicide and armed robbery.
It's been a roller coaster of emotions for the Franklin family as the search for missing pregnant 16-year-old Sophia Franklin continues. Sophia is said to be traveling with 40-year-old Gary Day of Arkansas, the father of her unborn child. They are in a 2014 black Buick LaCrosse with Pennsylvania license plates. Tonight, Sophia's mother hopes that her daughter hears her plea.
We love you. We want you home. We want you with us and to be a part of our family again and to experience all the milestones that come with approaching adulthood and finish your education and all the things. There's just so much life has to offer you right now, Sophie. That's what we want.
Day faces 2 counts of child enticement and child abduction in Dodge County. He also has a warrant out for his arrest for violating his parole from a child endangerment involving his son back in 2019.
Resurfacing work will soon begin along I-94 in Dane and also in Jefferson County starting March 3rd. Work will be done between County Highway and in Cottage Grove and Airport Road in Lake Mills. That project also includes minor rehabilitation work to 5 bridges over I-94. Nighttime and off-peak single-lane closures are expected while the work is being completed. That work is scheduled to wrap up by late November.
After Tuesday's budget address by Governor Tony Evers, analysts are picking apart this draft. We've talked at length about the state's budget surplus. Now, that's extra money Wisconsin has taken in that the state hasn't figured out what to do with. We spoke with Jason Stein of the Wisconsin Policy Forum about how the governor's budget may impact that top line number.
I think the bottom line is this is a very broad, deep document with a lot of changes to taxes and a lot of changes to spending. It would substantially spend down the state's surplus. It would leave a fair amount in the state's general fund and rainy day fund.
This is part of a longer discussion looking at some of the highlights of the governor's budget and where the process goes from here. You can see more from our interview coming up Sunday at 10:30 a.m. on For the Record.
Well, today people gathered in Dodgeville for the annual Chinese New Year luncheon. The event hosted by the Central Asian Productivity Center at the China One buffet there. Guest speaker Wang Bodong, the Chinese consul general, came up from Chicago for the event. Dodgeville's mayor says it's a great way to bring people together.
It's really, I think, to find ways to collaborate and work together so that we can create a brighter future for everyone in the world. And the opportunities that we can have to collaborate are sure one way we can do that.
The mayor also says it's an opportunity to showcase Iowa County to the Chinese Council.
Now, there are new concerns that the economy might slip back this year because people are not spending as much as they normally do. We told you yesterday about Walmart's yearly sales outlook for 2025. It is less than Wall Street expected, and that hurt the retail giant's stock price, which fell more than 6%. Analysts are breaking down what it means for the broader economy.
You couple this with the retail sales numbers that we got for January, biggest drop we've seen in 2 years. And then the data that we're getting on how consumers feel about inflation, they think inflation is going to be above 4% within a year. And so Walmart's outlook reflects that potential pullback in spending.
Walmart also indicated they're gaining traction among consumers who earn above $100,000 a year, a possible sign that all income levels are feeling pressure and looking for deals. And according to the latest University of Michigan survey, consumer sentiment has dropped in February. The findings show it is down 10% from January. A CNN poll also shows 62% of American adults say President Donald Trump is not properly dealing with inflation. The Trump administration has unveiled 10% tariffs on products from China and 25% tariffs on all aluminum and steel imports.
The price of eggs, of course, has jumped more than 15% in the past month alone, but there are some alternatives if you want to cut the cost at the grocery store. Experts at Good Housekeeping suggest substituting a 4th cup of Greek yogurt in place of an egg while baking. Liquid left over from a can of chickpeas can also be added to recipes. If you're really looking to switch up your meals, firm tofu can stand in for scrambled eggs. And the trend of drinking raw unpasteurized milk has grown immensely on social media, but is it healthy? Doctors say prior to the required pasteurization of milk, up to 25% of foodborne illnesses came from it. Milk is pasteurized by applying high heat over a short period of time, which kills bacteria without removing the nutrients found in milk. Doctors warn against drinking raw milk and urge anyone interested to research the risks.
If you blindly follow instructions that you see on social media, you could be hurting yourself or your loved ones, and so I wouldn't recommend that.
The trend of drinking raw milk comes as bird flu is impacting dairy herds across the country, creating some concerns from doctors that the disease could jump more easily to humans.
Well, the 44th annual Freeze for Food 5K and 10K run is fast approaching. Get ready. The event benefits Open Doors for Refugees. It's a nonprofit helping refugee families resettle and thrive here in Madison. Over $163,000 has been raised to fight food insecurity and support refugees since its inception in 1982.
The refugee community, there's so much evil happening in the world, and if we can provide even like the smallest warm welcome into our community. And all these folks have been traumatized and they've been pushed out of their homes. And I think it's just a small gesture, a small amount of my day, small amount of my time to give back.
The 5K and 10K walk or run will be held at Vilas Park Shelter at noon on March 1st.
Families in Janesville will soon have a new place to access health care. UW Health announcing it'll open a new family medicine clinic in the city. The 9,900 square foot clinic will be located on the first floor of the Baker Tilly building. The facility will feature a unique segmented wall panel system that allows staff to transform old office space into exam, procedure, and diagnostic rooms.
We're really committed to making sure that we are providing primary care in communities where patients and employees live. This clinic is just another opportunity to do so in South Central Wisconsin, and we were able to take an open office space and do that quickly.
Now, the clinic will have one physician and 2 advanced practice providers along with nursing and laboratory staff offering pediatric primary care, disease management care, immunizations, and other services.
Well, when we come back at 10, Blaze tells us about the chance for showers next week.
And President Trump continues to cut federal spending. This as the U.S. Postal Service may now be in the executive sights. That's next.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
A judge has blocked President Trump's executive order relating to grants for groups that promote DEI.
The president also fired the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Erica Brown reports on the rest of the day's events from Washington.
Okay, Howard. You're in.
At the White House Friday, President Trump discussed a possible plan to merge the U.S. Postal Service with the Commerce Department while swearing in Howard Lutnick as its secretary.
We want to have a post office that works well and doesn't lose massive amounts of money. And we're thinking about doing that, and it'll be a form of a merger, but it'll remain the Postal Service, and I think it'll operate a lot better than it has been over the years.
Earlier, the president hosted a bipartisan group of governors and had a heated exchange with Maine's Democratic Governor Janet Mills about transgender athletes.
Your population doesn't want men playing in women's sports, so you better comply, because otherwise you're not getting any federal funding. Every state, good, I'll see you in court. I look forward to that.
The Department of Education then announced an investigation into Maine's Department of Education. The Trump administration is also slashing more federal jobs, and the Pentagon announced plans to cut 5,400 probationary employees next week. Some lawmakers, including Republican Congressman Kevin Hern in Tulsa, are facing backlash from constituents about the widespread cuts.
We're seeing the administration undermining Congress.
Will you call Elon Musk in to testify under oath?
My concern right now, and I think I speak for a lot of Americans, is Elon Musk.
Hern deflected criticism, saying Congress has been unable to curb excessive government spending. Erica Brown, CBS News, Washington.
And in another development, the U.S. Supreme Court ruled that a government watchdog fired by President Trump may temporarily remain in his position ahead of a hearing scheduled for next week.
Now, look at the forecast. We'll warm up into the 40s this weekend.
And a little light rain or snow mix is headed to southern Wisconsin. We have meteorologist Blaze Keller with all of the details.
That's right. We're going to be sliding into northwesterly flow. I'll talk about that here in just a moment. But because of that jet stream placement, it's going to allow us to warm up into those 40s as early as Sunday, and it's also going to be moving through a few clipper systems that really do bring us those minor chances for snow or rain as we move over the next couple of days. The same high pressure system that cooled us down, bringing those single digits and those very cold wind chills, is the same high pressure system that's going to help warm us up. As it pushes off towards the southeast on your Saturday, southwesterly winds take on over, and that's really going to help us warm up, not to mention more sunshine as well for your Saturday. Both of those will keep keep us in the upper 20s to low 30s on your Saturday. A little bit more cloud cover expected on Sunday, but we still have those southwesterly winds, and that's going to bump our temperatures even warmer, upper 30s to low 40s by Sunday. Now, this first Clipper system is going to stay primarily in southern Canada, and I only mention that because we don't get the northwesterly winds on the backside of that. We still stick with generally southerly winds as we go into your Monday afternoon. So that allows us to stay warm and get into those low to mid 40s to start off your next work week. Monday night into early Tuesday, that's when we could see some light rain, and I probably would say more rain than snow because of how warm we'll be during the day, mainly along the Wisconsin-Illinois border. We dry out as we go into your Tuesday. Our next Clipper system moves in on Wednesday. This is going to be a little bit further south, more into northern parts of Minnesota and the UP. So as this system moves on out of here going into Thursday, it has a better chance of those northwesterly winds pulling down that cooler air. So we could see more of a rain-snow mix, leaning more rain Wednesday, and then more of that snow, but still with a few raindrops as we go into your Thursday. In terms of total snow from both Clipper systems, and if we extend this all the way out to the end of our extended forecast, we're looking at less than an inch for a lot of our coverage area. More of that snow expected to fall where the temperatures are going to stay cooler into parts of Michigan as well as the UP. Rain doesn't look too impressive either, probably a quarter of an inch or less. Because these systems don't pack a lot of moisture, they're coming out of Canada where they lose a lot of that moisture as they leave the Pacific and travel north and west. But this jet stream placement, northwest to southeast, that northwesterly flow, allows us to tap into that heat that's just sitting off to our south and west. But because that cold air is just off to our northeast, as these systems move on through, like what we'll see later this Thursday, we then cool on down. But a lot of us, the Midwest, the Northern Plains, staying warmer than average. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, even as late as Thursday, we could be in those upper 30s, if not the low 40s. So we're going to do a decent amount of melting. National Weather Service is saying just to look out for some ice jams in some of our rivers and streams, and just be cautious on the ice, especially later into next week, because we'll chip away at some of that snow on the ice, and we just haven't had that snow, that lack of snow to build up that ice further into the lake. So just keep that in mind, but we will eventually slide back into those low 30s, if not the mid 20s by the end of next weekend, which is the start of March.
And coming up in sports, the Badgers back in the win column. How a big first period pushed them past the Irish. That's next on News 3 Now. Mark Johnson just loves going to Midgie for two reasons. One, the fresh walleye for breakfast. And number two, well, usually his team leaves with a sweep. Wisconsin is 94-7-5 all time against Bemidji State. And they've won 15 straight in this series. Caroline Harvey needed 1 point for the most single-season points for a defender in program history, and it didn't take long for her to break that record. First period, Captain KK lights the lamp for her 50th point this year. She'd add an assist later. Badgers get the win, 6-1, the final. On the men's side, Wisconsin hosting Notre Dame in their final series of the regular season, and the Badgers had a party in the first period. Already up 1-0, Jack Horbach on the breakaway, and he sends a clapper past the tender. The shorthanded goal, part of a 4-goal first. Wisconsin snaps their 6-game losing streak with a 7-3 win. For the first time in program history, Wisconsin will take on Oregon in a conference game. But when you think of these two teams, epic NCAA tournament games come to mind. They met during UW's run to the back-to-back Final Fours, with the Badgers beating the Ducks both times. And this group knows those games won't help them prepare for Saturday's contests, but we can all agree they were pretty fun to watch.
I watched all those March Madness games coming up as a kid and in high school, but we as a team aren't looking at that. The game is completely different. Our players are completely different. Maybe as a history assignment, I'll go watch it for fun because the games have been great, but you know, this is a new team and a new year with a whole new identity.
Other men's basketball news, Greg Gard has been named to the Naismith Coach of the Year watch list, and for good reason. His Badgers are 21-5 this season with 2 top 10 wins and sit third in the Big Ten standings. after, remember, they were picked to finish 12th in the preseason. High school boys hoops, Verona hosting Sun Prairie East in a battle of the top 2 teams in the Big 8. Now, if you win this, you secure a share of the conference title, and Cam Bridges-Miller, well, he wants that. He turns defense into offense to the Wildcats an early lead. KBM finished with 28 points, but that lead wouldn't last. Max Raymer gonna rock the rim and give the Cardinals a 3-point lead, and their lead would only grow thanks to Chris Davis Jr. The certified bucket finished with a game-high 42 as Sun Prairie East wins it 96-92. Bucks taking on their former teammate Chris Middleton and his new team, the Wizards. That just doesn't look right, right? Well, Cash Money Middleton was up to his old tricks. The stop and pop for 2+1. Middleton finished with a dozen, but one thing about Giannis, he's not going to lose to his friend. He's going to take it coast to coast to the cup. Bucks get the win, 104-101. And to the pool we go, boys Division II state swim meet, and it was a good night if your last name was TaBeast and you're from McFarland. In the 200 IM, Blake TaBeast touches the wall first to claim his second state title in the event. And in the 100 butterfly, Cale TaBeast not only goes back-to-back in the event, but he set a new state record in a time of 48.44. McFarland dominated the field to win their second straight team title. We're back after this.
You're watching News 3 Now at 10.
Well, a dog in Whitefish Bay, lucky to have the help of 2 officers after he got his head stuck in a plastic treat jar. We all know a dog that would do this, right? Footage shows the dog's owners arriving to the city's police department with an unusual request. Could the police free their dog from that plastic jar on his head?
Oh, but it's so cute.
He's looking through the bottom there. At least cut an air hole in there.
His owners say Murphy, the dog, was trying to get the last milk bone when his head got stuck. After some struggling, you can see he was set free. Hopefully they're going to show that part. He went home with just a scratch on his ear and a lesson in controlling those impulses.
Yes.
That's a tough lesson for many
Murphy,
dogs. I don't think we have the money shot there at the end where he's got the jar off his head, but they got him out of that predicament.
Good.
All right, let's go. Blaze, we're looking for some warmer weather this weekend.
And it's going to arrive, especially on Sunday. Seasonal tomorrow, plenty of sunshine, a little bit breezy, upper 20s to low 30s. May feel a little bit cooler than that, but those southwesterly winds will bump us into the mid 40s by Monday. Light rain, snow mix Monday night into Tuesday, but I think the best chance still looks to be Wednesday into Thursday. That continues to be more of a rain snow mix versus all snow or all rain, but we stay fairly warm all the way through almost the end of next week, so enjoy this nice little warm up. We'll do a little bit of melting before we cool on down with some flurry chances as we kick off March, which is Saturday, Sunday, Monday.
In like a lion, maybe?
Well,
we'll see,
based
right?
on that, no, but hopefully nothing changes.
All right.
Take the weekend. Thank you, boys.
And thanks for joining us for News 3 Now at 10, folks.
Have a great weekend.